Joining us in studio right now, PFT commenter.
That was a really mean way to set me up. That was mean. I'm trying to extend an olive branch to the city of Chicago. I love Chicago. It's my home. I love it here. Don't want to leave. And the introduction that I get to the city is, hey, remember that time when we did the Hail Mary against you?
Yeah.
Then we play highlights of that for about 2 minutes. And then I get introduced. Can we just start off maybe with some common ground here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I hate the Green Bay Packers.
Okay,
right.
That started today. And that started today because somebody went up to Philadelphia last night and put a bunch of Commanders gear on the Rocky statue because there's that curse that if you dress the Rocky statue up, those teams always lose. I smelled a false flag from the start. I was like, this is not real. Turns out it was a Packers fan that did it. I have no idea why a Packers fan is getting in the middle of this rivalry.
Yeah.
We got a big game coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
But they can't imagine a world where the football universe doesn't pay attention to them. So they go up to Philly and they try to paint the Commanders as being like, oh, we're poking the bear. No, we're not. We're not doing that. So I hate the Packers starting today. To the city of Chicago, I'd also like to apologize for the time my El Camino broke down on October 1st. October 1st, there was a traffic jam. Stopped the city of Chicago. That was me. I'm sorry about that. Shouldn't have taken it on the highway. I'm learning the city. I'm new here. It'll never happen again. I'm trying to make amends.
Why El Camino? That was just your ride?
It's badass.
Yeah, okay. I like it.
There was always the kid in high school
That
with
had
the El Camino.
That was you.
1970 SS El Camino.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But
How many people can get into that vehicle?
Me and my dog. That's
Yeah.
about it. But yeah, I learned that it gets 4 miles per gallon.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
mental note, maybe don't take it on the highway ever to do anything.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Hey, it is. Well, we've only met you, at least me. I don't know if Waddle's met you before. I've only met you the one time at the Combine. We've been a big fan of your work, what you guys do over at Barstool. We love everybody there, but what you and Big Cat do is outstanding, and your rise is incredible. We want to know, though, like, you as a Commanders fan, Redskins fan growing up, is all that real, though?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, good one. Good
Ouch.
one. It is real. I'd like to confess I wasn't a Nationals fan until 2005, I believe.
You're good by us.
That's when they
we got the
started.
team. Yeah. No,
Very good.
from Fairfax County, Virginia, originally. Grew up rooting for all the teams. My town was right next door to the Commanders or the Redskins training camp at the time, so I used to go there all the time, watch those guys practice, and we've been terrible. We've been a really bad football team.
I asked you earlier.
entire life,
Yeah,
yeah.
when was the last time? I don't even know. When was the last time you guys had a playoff victory?
Yeah, it was 2005, 2006. Beat the Buccaneers. I think it was 17-10. Mark Brunell had 40 yards passing. Sean Taylor had a great fumble return for a touchdown. That was great. But besides that, I believe that's the last playoff win that we had since 1991. Maybe we had one in the late 90s.
When you guys beat the
know.
Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl,
Beat the
right?
Bills in the Super Bowl. So that's, we could see that happen this year. I'm hoping, but
Wow.
one game at a time.
Yeah. So for those who don't listen to Pardon My Take, and it seems like the whole world does, tell people how you got into this. We know Big Cat's story because he's a weekly guest on our show.
Yep.
You two co-host Pardon My Take, which is outstandanding. And like even Yurko, I kept saying PFT's coming on, PFT commenter, and he's like commentator.
I love Yurko.
And he's like
He's the
he's like
best.
commentator. I'm like, no, Yurko, it's commenter.
Yeah.
And then he didn't know because how you started. So take us back and let our audience who may be unfamiliar how you got your start.
Right. So first of all, I listen to you guys all the time. And so I listen to this station. I like to listen to local sports talk radio. And there's so many times during the week when I get into my car. I work all week with Big Cat, right? We're around each other all the time. And then I get in my car and I'm driving home from work. And I turn it on, and the first voice I hear is Big Cat's on the radio. I'm like, this guy again. Like I can't get away from him ever. But I love your guys' show. But my start was originally I was down in Austin, Texas, and I wanted to be a screenwriter. And I wanted to do like comedy writing, things like that. I made some short films. I invented Breaking Bad before Breaking Bad happened. It's a true story, kind of. I don't know if they stole it from me, but I made a movie about a high school dropout that makes and sells meth with his chemistry teacher as like his guide, right? So I wanted to do that for a living.
Come on, are you being serious
Yeah,
now?
it was called Dang That's Methed Up. You've never seen it?
I have not.
Oh, yeah. It was
I
great.
will.
It was a great film. No, it was like 12 minutes long, and then 3 years later, Breaking Bad comes out, and I'm like, Damn,
Did you
I
ever
thought I
try
had a
to
good
sue
idea.
him?
I've verbally threatened him
Yeah.
many times, but yeah, I'm too lazy.
Who's
for
the guy that is the creator? Not
Vince
that's not
Gilligan.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, Vince Gilligan. I heard that he might have been in Richmond, Virginia at the time. Who knows? But that was my whole goal, right? I want to be a comedy writer, and then that dream kind of fell by the wayside a little bit. I got a real job. I was selling used dogs. I was an adoption counselor for dogs down there. And
Used dogs.
Yeah, used dogs. Dude, I could put you in a Catahoula. You give me 2 minutes, you're going home with a Louisiana swamp dog. I'm telling you, I was pretty good at it. But then
What was your move? Was it shame?
Oh no, my move was I would take my dog at the time, who was an English Mastiff named Leroy, and he was about 165 pounds.
It's a big dog.
I would bring him out with me to these like adoption meetings that we would have. So I'd be in like the Petco parking lot or like the Fresh Plus parking lot there, and then people would come over and be like, "What's that dog? Can I get that dog?" And I'd be like, "That dog's actually mine, but can I show you this 12-year-old Australian Shepherd that needs a home?" So I'd like switch them off. Or I would do the puppy wave, where if you have a puppy, you just wave at people that drive by. Then they come by. It's like
With a little
fishing
puppy
dynamite.
paw? Puppy paw?
You can't resist the puppy
Yeah.
paw. So I had that job. I was a software salesman down there too. And then I've always been a big NFL fan. And so I would always follow the news. And I got super intrigued with the comment section, the type of people that spend their days reading these websites and leaving comments. Like what are the hottest takes out there? Because they're usually the dumbest people that you can find. And I was just fascinated with the mind of an internet commenter. And so then I developed a character, like what if you gave an internet commenter his own blog? And I started writing fleshed out columns from the mind of the dumbest people that you could ever imagine. And then enough people started picking up on that and following that I got a part-time job blogging for people. And then after a few years of doing that, I got another job. And then I met with Big Cat up here. I was here for, I believe it was a friend's wedding back in 2014. And so we had always been accused of stealing each other's jokes. So people would tag me in stuff that he wrote and be like, "Yo, PFT, Big Cat just stole your joke."
And you guys didn't know each other.
We didn't know each other at all at the
Yeah.
time. And people would tag Big Cat and stuff that I wrote and be like, "Hey, PFT just stole your joke here." And so then we both figured, well, maybe if this guy's making the same jokes that I am, and our blogs are coming out almost at the same time, so it's not like we're stealing things. But we figured maybe if this guy's making the same jokes, maybe we get along. And so we sat down, had a beer somewhere downtown. I forget where it was. And he was like, "Yeah, so let's just stay in touch. And maybe if there's something at Barstool that opens up, maybe you can come join." Sure enough, 2 years later, he's like, "I want to do a podcast. I want to co-host it with you." And I was like, "That sounds like a good idea. Let's give it a shot." He's like, "You got to move to New York." Never wanted to move to New York in my life. Never. But I was like, yeah, too good of a job. So took a chance and then took off way faster than we expected. But it's been fun. It's the best job in the world.
Do you still have the El Camino?
I still have the El Camino.
I love it.
It's on ice for the winter time.
Sure.
Yeah, can't drive that thing around in the winter time.
It really is amazing. Originally, when podcasts started, there were others in our business who have radio shows. You look down at the podcasters.
Yeah.
And now your show is as big as any radio show out there. And you said about the way the show grew, are you even amazed today, and especially how mainstream, because at first it was niche, and then I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, then there was a perception that you guys were the bad boys, and
Yeah.
then
Still are.
But I know,
Try me.
I feel like the athletes feel really good with, and now a lot of these guys are friends of yours, and they favor to come on with you guys, and you guys have terrific relationships with them.
Yeah, but the internet moves so fast. There'll be 5 years from now, there'll be some guy on TikTok that they'll want to go do a video with instead of doing an interview. But it kind of grew to a point where we would have people on at the very start, and they would be like, "Why are these guys so possible? Why are they so popular? We should start our own podcast." And so then you had a lot of athletes that you see now that are just doing it themselves. But yeah, it really took off in the first, probably first year, I would say. It happened so fast that I didn't even realize it. And then one time, my dad told me, he was like, "Yeah, I was going through the grocery store today, and I saw a person wearing your face on their shirt." And I was like, that's really strange. That's beyond me, because I was not familiar with how vastly popular Barstool was at the time. And then when that happened, I was just like, oh man, I don't know. I never really fame was not something that I ever thought was even possible for us. We just want to make jokes with our friends. And I hope that still comes across because our job now, it's changed, and now we're just kind of always live and we're always performing essentially. But yeah, it's been a fun ride. And I love it. It's a great job.
You said to Silvy, try me. Your first move isn't to drop your pants like the guy in Alberta.
No, that guy
your move?
that stuck it to a pole. That's what they tell you in jail. You go right up to the bar and you put it on the biggest bar there. Yeah, intimidate everybody. I haven't been in a scrap in a while though. Good barroom.
Do you
fight.
remember your last fight? What was your last fight?
It was New Year's Eve. I want to say it was 2009, 2010. Guy broke a pint glass over my head.
Oh,
broke a pint glass.
Why?
Yeah. Well, he pulled me over side. I was wearing a sweet plaid jacket at the time, as one does. And he said, I like your jacket. And I was like, thanks. And then he followed it up with a homophobic slur.
Oh.
So he was not actually complimenting my jacket. He was insulting my jacket.
Yeah.
So then I gave him a little two-handed shove, and then he hit me in the head. I thought just with his fist at the time. But it was a pint glass. And then my move is the double leg because I'm a short guy. So you go after both legs, you end up on the ground, then you wait for everybody else to break the fight up.
Yeah.
And so then the fight gets broken up. That was a lot. Actually, my first and only bar fight I think I've ever been in.
Did you have stitches from that?
No stitches. I don't know how it worked out. I had a little piece of pint glass in my lapel though that I had to pull out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it ruin your jacket?
No, jacket's still here.
Still good?
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
It's a used car salesman jacket for sure. Yeah.
Or a used dog.
dogs.
Yeah.
Used dog
Used
salesman.
dog.
Yeah.
All right, so
Is it Datsun or Dachshund?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. You want to try me?
Yeah.
I want to ask him about the Commanders and if that play and what a ride. We thought that could have been us or was going to be us, or at least we would have had the good mojo. If that falls incomplete, and I asked this to Tarico yesterday, but you're the fan. Do you believe you are where you are today getting ready for the NFC Championship game?
I could take it one step further back and say that if Dan Snyder is still the owner of the Commanders, 0% chance that gets caught. It's changed the entire vibe. And I know that there's some bad owners here in Chicago and some owners that a lot of fans would like to see gone. Keep fighting the fight. I fought that fight against Dan Snyder for a long time because he was the worst. He's just a bad dude, bad guy. He was public enemy number one for me and for a lot of people too. And just the whole vibe of the franchise changed when he sold the team. I mean, there's still some things that we have to figure out. We got to figure out a new stadium, all this stuff. But we had a stadium that was literally leaking poop onto the fans. It was as bad as it gets. He was selling expired beer, rotten peanuts in the concession stand. He was just making all the worst decisions. He treated the fans with open hostility for a long time. And so when we got rid of him, I felt like everything was turning around. And everything that's happened since then, listen, I didn't want Dan Quinn as my number one choice. I wanted Ben Johnson. I think you guys got a great coach in Ben Johnson. But the decision-making that we've had from the GM to the head coach in the draft, everything, it all changed once he left. So I don't know if we're here, if that Hail Mary doesn't get caught. But I do know that Hail Mary doesn't get caught if Dan Snyder is still the owner of the team.
Yeah, well said. When they drafted Jayden Daniels, what was your thought?
I had him number one.
You did?
Yeah. So my big board ahead of the draft was Jayden number one. I believe Caleb was number two. And then I think I had Joe Milton number three because he's got that arm. I just love watching his arm. Maybe I wouldn't love having him on my team, but if you cannot watch Joe Milton and not feel anything.
Played well in the final game of the season for the Patriots, right? Isn't that who he's playing with?
Yeah, Bazooka Joe. Yeah. No, he's the best. But I had Jay number one. That may or may not have been because I knew that the Bears were going to take Caleb. So I just put
you're
Jay
right.
number
You got
one.
your mind right.
And I told Caleb, we interviewed him out at training camp, and it was on a clip of it was on Hard Knocks. And I told him, I was like, hey, I'll let you have 7 Super Bowls. You can have 7. Just give me 3. Just let Jayden have 3. So maybe this is just the first of 3 for Jayden, hopefully this year. And then you guys will have your shot too. I think Caleb's a great quarterback. I think he will be great.
No, you're not patronizing us, are you? Because of the bad open and everything like that, and you're coming in peace?
Okay, I don't. Maybe great right now is not an accurate statement, but I think he will be great. I think he's got all the tools. I think he's got a coach that knows how to coach offense, that knows how to work with a young quarterback. What he did with Jared was incredible. I like Caleb. I mean, I say that sometimes, and then Big Cat's like, you don't mean that. I do mean it. Now, my question to you guys is, are you rooting for Jayden Daniels?
Yeah.
Or is
Yeah.
it one of those things where
No.
you're like, if we see this guy that we could have had go to the Super Bowl, then it makes you think more about your draft?
No, I like the way he plays. I enjoy watching him play. I don't even at this point, I'm not there yet. I know a lot of people are. The jealousy hasn't crept in. Maybe it will if we get through next year and Jayden's still playing significantly better than Caleb. I'm willing to let this thing marinate a little bit. But no, I love watching young guys get out there and do their thing, and he's been fabulous.
PFT, like, I don't know how well you know Waddle. Waddle's always the polite one, too. He played, so he doesn't see Fandom the way you and I and Big Cat see Fandom. I'm the petty guy.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm the jealous guy. I'm the guy who always, like, hated LeBron for all the years because he beat our team, and to give him the respect he deserved. There was one nationally televised game, and I forgot what game it was, towards the end of the year. And I just said, I was in my bedroom and I had a talk with myself. You must get over this. And you can't hate. You can't live your life hating him. He had nothing to do with this. This is on the Bears, Caleb. And I said what you said about Caleb. I still believe Caleb is going to be good. Don't go hating the Commanders because they made these good moves and your team sucks.
Yeah, that's healthy. That's growth.
I did grow.
You had
It took me
therapy
till it
with
was
yourself.
53. Yeah,
Was it
I
the
did.
overtime win against Atlanta? Is that where it was?
It was one of those, and instead of like being in full rage, where I'm like, no, this Caleb's going to be as good, if not better, and fighting. I'm just like, I got to give Jayden his due. How can I rage against this greatness for this rookie quarterback? So I want them to beat the Eagles.
You
I'm
do
rooting for
realize,
guys.
though, that like the football gods are on your side.
That's not always a good thing.
That it's not always the case. The football gods have been against you for decades.
That's true.
Now they're like, if you go back and as I know you know, and you look
Payback
at
time.
the ways that they have won, yeah, you're getting a little bit of payback on the rest of the National Football League.
I paid a lot of debts over the course of a lot of years. I put a lot of money in that bank, and now I'm waiting to cash it out.
Yeah.
Like I've been miserable as a football fan my entire life, just miserable. So to get one season, it doesn't even feel real. We had Fred Smoot on today on Part of My Take, and him and I made a deal. If we go to the Super Bowl this year, we're doing a love boat. Me and Fred.
Oh,
Maybe Lake Pontchartrain. Maybe get out there with Freddie, get some ladies. Although Jayden Daniels has no girls. His mom said that, which I've been living that lifestyle. I haven't enjoyed the success he has, but at least athletically, doesn't work for me. But I feel like if there's one guy that has good mojo that can bring it to you, it's Fred Smoot. I mean, you just listen to that guy talk, and I'm all ears to anything he says.
is it more known for the love boat or for not being able to bench?
Yeah, the not bench thing. That's a tough look. But yeah, the love boat. I told him we should get a fan boat, like a Louisiana Cajun style big fan boat on Lake Pontchartrain.
Just hope it doesn't snow.
I hope it doesn't snow down
Yeah.
there. Yeah. No, it's gonna be a fun weekend. Hopefully we get to the Super Bowl.
Do you have a sizable ticket on the Commanders to win the Super Bowl?
I do not. No, I didn't put that future down on them. I've got enough invested already. I did put a big ticket down on the Capitals to win the Stanley Cup at 25-1, though. This is like a month and a half ago.
We found out today that they're the best team in the NHL.
Yeah,
right
we didn't
now.
know that.
We
weren't
Meller
paying
quizzed us on the power rankings of the NHL.
Well, I went to go see him in Chicago, and you guys beat us. That was tough. And then I went to the Wrigley Field game, the Winter Classic, and the only thing I kept watching the game, and looking around, and be like, how do we lose to these guys? That's pretty tough to do. But yeah, it's right now things are looking good for me, but that can all change in a second.
So what do you like most about our city now that you live? How long's it been? Has it been a year?
It's been about a year and a half, and I've got an easy answer: the dive bars, the best dive bars in the world in Chicago.
What's your favorite dive bar?
I like Corner Bar. Corner Bar is a great one in Bucktown. Richards.
Richards is
also
that's a
fantastic.
legendary spot.
I'm making my way around, so I'm doing Malort reviews everywhere that I go. And some places have nicer bottles, more vintage. Some have, more the modern feel. But I kind of like Malort now. I think I drank enough of it.
Like it's an acquired taste.
I think I acquired it. I think I got it. But yeah, I love the dive bars here.
Are you still able to smoke in Richards even though like there's a no smoking ban? Because that used to be like the one bar that was exempt from where you're allowed to smoke.
I choose not to answer that question. I don't think that you're supposed to talk about that right now.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
I think you're telling tales out of school.
Oh, okay.
I think so. Big Cat took John Gruden out for wings.
Yep.
Have you taken John Gruden out for Malort?
We made that deal last week, yeah. When we were watching
Excellent.
the Lions-Commanders game. He's going to come out. We're going to do some Malort together. Just have a real dive
He
bar
seems
experience.
to be like the best dude to hang with for a football Sunday.
He is the best. He's so funny, and he gets it. He immediately immersed himself inside a little madhouse world at Barstool, and within like 2 days, he was walking around with Frank the Tank and, hanging out doing the bench press with Nicky Smokes. He's like, yeah, if I'm in, I'm all in. But he's the absolute best. I'm so glad that we hired that guy.
Yeah, I know. Were you worried that he would be like, I'm not in the NFL. I used to work for Monday Night Football. He's going to big time us. Like, I can't get enough of the videos.
Yeah, at first I didn't know what to expect. I was like, this guy, you're right. He was on Monday Night Football, and then he's going to walk into the Barstool office. And he's going to be sitting on a couch next to Stephen Che for 4.5 hours. And he's going to be like, I need to fire my agent immediately. Like, how did I end up here? This is bad. Get on the phone. I'll take any job. But no, he's been great. He is the man. I love John.
How were you planning on watching the game on Sunday?
Unfortunately, or fortunately, it comes with a job, but I'm going to be watching it on the live stream next to a bunch of rabid Philly fans.
Yeah, it's going to be war. Has it been a fight, like Big Cat said, all week?
It has been an absolute war. And, well, maybe not war just yet. The way that we put it is there's brush fires all around the office. So I'll be getting into a screaming match with somebody in one room. It dies down, going to the next room, eating my lunch. Max comes in with some stats that he wants to argue about, which Max doesn't even understand the stats that he's bringing up. He's like, Mikey Sanders still has a worse quarterback rating against him than Cooper DeJean does. Max, what goes into a quarterback? I don't know, but it's worse. Your number's not as good as my number. In Philadelphia, we got real numbers. So it's been something I've had to deal with. But listen, I'm ready to fight a war. I'm ready to fight a war on Sunday.
It's gonna
I was
be
going to
amazing.
say, that's a burden you're willing to accept at this point.
Kind of surreal to think that it's January 24th and I'm still rooting for a football team.
Yeah.
And I hope that happens to you guys. I really do. I hope,
All
would be
right,
great?
don't patronize. Now you're patronizing. Now I know you are.
You know what would be great? You know what would be great if there were NFC Championship games between the Commanders and the Bears. That would be awesome.
Well, that would be for your show the best.
It would be the best for the show.
I just want to win six games
and
next
Caleb,
year.
like against Jayden.
And I got a tattoo on here from the Bears Commanders game last year when you guys beat us. You came into Raul John
Let's see.
Maryland.
What do you got there?
It's a little labyrinth that my dad designed. I can't really get my sweater up high enough, but I got that. Then Big Cat got a tattoo after this game. So our bodies are just going to be tapestries of losses that we've had to the other teams.
That's perfect.
And I think we're playing again next year.
Are
The schedule makers just.
I think so.
UPS
Well,
Dave,
we get the NFC East, right? So yeah, definitely.
UPS Dave wants me to remind you, or at least tell you, that was something I've been saying on the show. He says, make sure you tell commenter PFT that I am taking the under on the Commanders next year because I just feel like you guys got every break in the world and you're going to be hyped. Your total next year is going to be like 10.5, right?
That's a fair bet. That might not be a bad bet because
That was like Nicky Smokes. That was his rationale, right? Or whoever it was that was telling you, my numbers are better than yours.
Exactly. In the NFL, every offseason, there's one team that's just hyped to hell by the media. And I'm preparing myself for that to be the Commanders going into next year.
Because everyone's going to say Jayden's only going to get better. They're in the East. The new coach for the Cowboys. Philadelphia, this,
Giants
we'll go
suck.
down. The Giants suck. They're going to win. It's 10.5. I'm playing the under based on the bounces.
That's definitely going to happen. You look at whatever the team did last year, and then you add or subtract one win, and that's what you say they're going to end up at.
Yeah.
I feel like we are going to be very, very hyped going into next year. But, we do have a lot of cap space. We got, a good front office, I think. So maybe – but, again, I don't want to even think about the fact that people are saying this is the start of a window. It's very hard to get to an NFC Championship.
Oh,
game.
yes.
I mean, the Lions were there last year. They expected to be back for the next 5 years.
Well, so did the 49ers. They didn't even make the playoffs this year.
That's what they do. They either make the
Yeah, or
championship
they're
game
gone.
or they
Yeah.
miss the playoffs. It's like a tradition.
So
there.
when you guys do beat the Eagles this weekend,
Hopefully.
then who would you rather face in the Super Bowl, the Bills or the Chiefs?
Can I say something really stupid?
You don't care.
No one's listening, right?
No,
No, definitely not. Yeah.
Nobody listens to us.
I think we could beat the Chiefs. I think
Better matchup for you?
I think I want the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. The Bills, and partially it's because I love the Bills. It's hard not to root for the Buffalo Bills and Bills Mafia, and we've got a lot of friends up in Buffalo.
Yeah,
and
Josh is your buddy too.
Josh is our buddy, and we are compromised. We admit our biases. I'm very compromised with Josh Allen. I think he owes us like $10 million because he came on part of my take back before he got drafted. We built a website for him, draftjoshallen.com. He's got big hands, looks good in shorts, rocket arm. It had all the features of Josh Allen on there for GMs. And then we told him, we're happy to put the site up. We just want 10% of your second contract. And so I think that would end up being like maybe $14 million.
Yeah.
All in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very stupid of me to say that I would like the Chiefs. But I think if you were to get to that point, I think we match up better against the Chiefs than the Bills.
PFT, if I told you in August that you'd be sitting here talking about Jayden Daniels with a chance to beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the most incredible stories ever.
No, it doesn't feel real. It doesn't. It shouldn't feel real. I hope this feeling never goes away. I'm like a child, and this is my first football season, and now I'm going to be like, oh, why we play every year in late January? You know, hopefully the expectation doesn't shift that much, but it's insane. I have to pinch myself and tell myself out loud, you're still playing football right now.
Yeah. Well, enjoy it. Enjoy
Yes.
it. And thank
This
you
is
for
awesome.
joining us today. And keep up the great work. You guys do great work.
Of course, because I really am rooting for Caleb. That's not patronizing.
Okay.
It's not. It's not.
I
seven
find
Super Bowls.
I can hear the sincerity in your voice.
I mean it.
Yeah.
And I do love Chicago.
We love having you
Chicago
here,
loves
too.
you.
All right. Well, thank you guys.